Hello, good afternoon. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET now. I'm Vinny Motiwala with me, Shal D'Souza as well. Shal, a very good afternoon to you as well. And Shal, a decent day coming in for the markets. 24,100 is what it's managing to hold on to even as of now.
Absolutely. A very good afternoon to you, Vinny. And yes, we are near that record high levels for the Nifty as we speak. We surpassed the 24,100 mark. So yes, we started the week on a good footing, at least as of now. Let's take a look at what Nifty Bank is doing and if it's participating with the benchmark indices in this sort of an up move. So there you go. Nifty Bank moving exactly in line with the benchmark indices, and the broader market is also holding on to the positive territory as of now. Almost 400 points recovery coming in for Nifty Bank from the day's lowest point. If you look at the advanced decline ratio, very much tilted in the favor of gainers. And also you have the IT stocks that are leading from the front, given the fact there are a lot of brokerage notes coming in for the IT previews, Vinny.
Absolutely. IT surely, a lot of brokerage notes we've seen, and we'll talk about all the stocks later on in the show as well. But with that, let's get started with the stocks that have been buzzing in trade on the back of news flows and technicals. And from the research team right now, we do have Jinay as well as Ansh joining in with us, and also from a short while from now, we'll be joined by Aditya Agarwala from the technical side as well. But let me start then with the first stock that we should be talking about today. That is JB Pharma. That is in focus today. Now, Kotak Securities has initiated coverage on this stock. They have initiated with the buy rating, target price of 2,025 rupees per share, which is a decent upside of around 17% from Friday's closing price. As of now, yes, the stock is managing to just hold on to gains of almost 3% off the day's highest point. But other than that, they're focusing in terms of the efforts that they're making for the CMO business, which will propel the earnings of the company. They expect a good growth in terms of 17 to 18% in EBITDA and profit over the next 3 years. And what Kotak highlights that they see an improved MR productivity in India amid a healthy CMO order book that the company has, so steady outlook that they see for the company. So yes, that's why they're keeping an eye out on JB Pharma in focus on the back of Kotak Securities initiation note.
Alright, so that is all about JB Pharma. Let's talk about Karur Vysya Bank, because given the fact that we have started a brand new month, also we've ended the quarter gone by. So a lot of operational updates now coming in from companies. So you have Karur Vysya Bank, which is holding on to good gains earlier on in the trading session. It came out with this Q1 operational performance where they're saying the advances were up by about 16% while the deposits saw an increase of about 14.4%. So the numbers were 77,709 crore rupees is what the advances stood at the end of June 30th, higher by about 16.1%, while the deposits stood at around 92,349 crore rupees, which is higher by about 14.4% on a year-on-year basis. So these are the provisional numbers coming in. Also, they said the total business of the bank was higher by about 15.2% on a year-on-year basis, while the credit growth was similar to the previous quarter. Annual deposit growth slowed from 16.3% on year in the quarter ended March. So you have the company coming out with the quarterly performance, and on back of that, Karur Vysya is in focus.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on Karur Vysya Bank after its Q1 update. Let's move on and talk about Allcargo Logistics. We do have some volume numbers, Ansh, that have come in. What's the stock doing and what are the numbers looking like in terms of operational update?
Right, so the stock is trading about 2% in trade today. Actually, company has come up with a monthly operational update, and LCL volume for the month of May 2024 has witnessed an increase of 4% as compared to April 2024. And the company has said that the volumes are expected to improve on the back of reflecting an increase in freight rates. Also, company has witnessed an increase in volume in all major regions like APAC, Latin America, United States, Europe, and in Middle East as well. Whereas container utilization has improved marginally on the back of increased volume. Whereas if we talk about FCL volumes, then that for the month of May 2024 has witnessed a significant increase of around 10% as compared to last month and 15% compared to May of 2023. Volumes were high in APAC, Latin America, and Middle East as well. Also, if you see the chart, then the stock is down actually 35% from this year's high, and RSI indicator is showing an oversold region, which is a positive sign for the stock.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about United Spirits then. And Jinay, coming to you, why is this one in focus?
Well, so Macquarie has come up with a note. They have maintained their underrating performance on this with a target price of rupees 1,000, what they say that the muted volume growth is likely to continue in Q1 as well, mainly on the back of elections and the heat wave throughout the country. Now they are expecting a 10% growth in terms of prestige sales for Q1, and regular sales, they are telling that it will be flattish owing given that there is a continued weakness across the mass end segment. Now on terms of EBITDA, they are telling that expecting a consolidated EBITDA to benefit on the back of healthy EBITDA by their IPL subsidiary, but overall there is an underperformance in the stock, and if you look at the stock price, it's trading with a downtick of about 1%.
Keeping an eye out on United Spirits there, but yes, a bit under pressure. Let's move on, talk about Wockhardt, because that's buzzing away in trade. An uptick of almost 19% is what we are seeing intraday for Wockhardt in terms of the stock move. Now, yes, there are a couple of new things that we're keeping an eye out on news flows. One, the price band changes has come in from 5% to 20% for the stock. So right now, you can see the stock is locked in upper circuit, 20% uptick there. And other than that, on Friday, what came in was also that they have claimed a breakthrough in their drug-resistant infection in cancer patient with their experimental drug Zynic, which they're keeping an eye out on. The US body has awarded highly susceptible to the antibiotic is what we have understood, and this is the main reason that we're seeing Wockhardt even buzzing in trade on Friday. Today also managing to hold on to strong gains. This is supposed to have a big market, and that will be something that will lead to a better growth for the company going forward in terms of this launch when it comes out as well. But we also managed to speak to the management of the company, the founder and chairman of the company, in terms of new launches. What are they optimistic on in terms of the pipeline that one could expect going forward? Listen in.
Zynic is a new antimicrobial product, basically, and it works on resistance microorganism, and it has a new class of antibiotic. And there is in India about 750,000 patient resistance cases are there, and it will work on those patients. Micnef, that is nifetromycin, is an oral drug. It is used in pneumonia cases where there is a very significant resistance, as high as 60% to existing product. And when it is oral drug don't work, people get hospitalized. And that is where our drug is very effective. It has 97% success rate, and it's just a 3-day treatment. And it is a single drug treatment versus multiple drug, even orally doctor uses today.
All right, so that is the management of Wockhardt, and the stock is actually locked in upper circle by 20%. But on that note, we slip into a break. When we come back, more stocks to discuss. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET now, and we do have Aditya Agarwala joining in with us on the technicals as well. Aditya, very good afternoon, and thank you so much as always for joining in with us. But let's start with your first stock for today. That's Alembic Pharma. What is the word coming in on the technicals for this one?
Hi Vinny, thanks for coming to the show. Good afternoon to you as well. The stock has broken out from a downward sloping channel after a long consolidation phase, and looking at the rest of the pharma pack, I think this is one pharma stock which was due for an up move, and after a breakout in trade today, it's gearing up for that up move on the upside. So I think if it sustains above 920, 925 odd levels, it can test levels of 980 and 1000 on the upside. So above 920, I'll be a buyer in the stock, which is almost there for a target of 980,000. On the downside, 880, 900 is a very strong support area. So the risk to reward Vinny is also in favor of going long currently in the stock. Plus, if I plot the volumes, it has already surpassed previous week's volume. So overall, it looks like a very healthy looking chart setup, and one should definitely look at going fresh long in the stock at current levels.
Alright, so that's the take coming in on Alembic Pharma, but we spoke to Mihir Vora, who is the CIO at Trust Mutual Fund, and he has a neutral view actually on the pharma space as well as the cement space. Let's listen into his rationale.
We're kind of neutral on the sector. We have 3-4 names in the segment, so we're neutral. But I think the worst is over for the sector, and we'd be looking to pick more stocks in this segment, I would say. More of the generic exporters, because that's where the maximum stress was for the last 4-5 years, and that's where we hope the turnaround will happen. So cement, we are, I would say, neutral, and I would not play for margin improvement in the sector. So we prefer stocks which are going for capacity expansion. So over the longer term, I'd rather favor volume expansion and capacity expansion rather than margin improvement.
All right, let's move on then. Since I said it's the start of a new quarter as well as a new month, now we have a lot of operational updates coming in, and REC
Okay, the earning season also, that's what is giving me the stress now, Cheryl. That
actually it should give you all smiles also, Vinny. You don't have
more
to struggle.
stocks.
Yeah, more stocks or sabko milega stocks basically. That's all it is. But let's talk about REC right now. And why is REC buzzing in trade? Because they've come out with their Q1 operational performance, where they're saying they've sanctioned loans of about 1.12 lakh crore rupees, which is higher by about 24.2% on a year-on-year basis. And also, apart from that, the loan disbursements were higher by about 27.9% on a year-on-year basis in the quarter gone by. So the loan disbursements, loan sanctions were at 1.13 lakh crore rupees, and also out of the total loan sanction, loans for renewable energy were to the tune of about 39,655 crore rupees, which is about 58.7% higher on a year-on-year basis. So healthy numbers coming in for the loan sanction disbursement, and that's why REC is holding on to gains of about 4% as we speak, Vinny.
Absolutely strong moves coming in post. We saw that update coming in, the uptick came in the stock as well. But let's move on and talk about eMudhra then. And Ansh, why is this one in focus today?
Right, so the stock is up over 4% in trade today, so it's very moving strongly in the upward direction. So the eMudhra, wholly owned subsidiary of the company, has concluded and signed agreements to acquire 100% ownership interest of TWO95 International. This is a company of USA, a digital transformation solution and services company, for a consideration of around $10 million. The acquisition is subject to customary closing conditions, which are expected to be completed within next 3 to 4 weeks. Accordingly, the company will inform the closure of the transaction to the stock exchanges as well.
All right, so that is about eMudhra, but let's talk about Piramal Enterprises then. Aditya, how are the charts for Piramal Enterprises looking to you? Do you think it's reached a level which you can call attractive, or are you seeing some signs of a breakout or so?
I'm looking at a breakout, Cheryl. Good afternoon. After a long consolidation phase, I think stock is getting up for a breakout. The resistance is at 940 immediately. What is interesting is, if you take a look at the last 2 weeks, massive volumes have happened in the stock. Could be a block deal. I'm not too sure about why that kind of massive volume took place in the stock. But yes, there was massive volume in the stock last couple of weeks. The price hasn't moved yet. And above 940, I think stock will trigger a fresh up move on the upside for targets of 980 to about 1000 again on the upside. And if it breaks out of 1000, it can also test levels of 1100. So the longer term time frame chart structure of Piramal definitely looks very strong, and one can start nibbling into the stock at current levels, look for more of a positional trade for a target of 1000 to about 1100 on the upside. On the downside, immediate supports are at 910 to about 900. So again, very close to support areas, and the rewards are significantly higher. Plus RSI has crossed its previous peak. So overall, it's a very good looking chart setup for the stock.
All right, so that is all about Piramal Enterprises, as well as good afternoon to you, Aditya. I realize I missed greeting you, but Vinny, looks like it's going to be a great afternoon. After a great weekend, we are seeing good moves in the markets also.
Absolutely good moves in the markets. That momentum has seemed to have continued for the markets. But let's move on to the next stock that we're going to talk about at number 10 is Dixon Tech. That's also on focus, buzzing away in trade. Jinay, why is that so?
So HSBC came up with a note. They are maintaining their buy rating, and they hiked the target price from the earlier price of 8,800 to the new target price of rupees 12,800. What they believe is that policy environment is something likely to remain favorable in terms of the company. They say that thanks to all the policy measures that has a lot has happened in last 5 years in India, if we talk about the electronic sectors in particularly. Also, given that high electronics trade deficit, policies are likely to continue to support more backward integration and export opportunities for the company, and that is why they are retaining a buy rating on Dixon Technologies on Dixon's strong scale, strong balance sheet and healthy client relationships.
That is Dixon Tech for y'all. Surely keeping an eye out on that one. But let's move on, and the next stock that we're going to talk about is IREDA. That's in focus. Why? Because Q1 updates that have come in for IREDA, when you're looking at it in terms of the business update for the first quarter. The loan sanctioned is at 9,136 crores, and overall, when you compare it to the same time last year, they've seen a good growth. In terms of the disbursed loans, also is at 1,893 crores, which has grown around 5 times nearly on a year-on-year basis. So good growth there. Disbursed loans during the quarter stood at around 5,320 crore rupees, which is 67% growth compared to 3,174 crore rupees last year. So yes, a good Q1 update that's coming from the company. Also in terms of that 54EC changes that came in there, that was also the reason that we were keeping an eye out on that. But we managed to also speak to the management, right, on all these issues on the 54EC. How does that play out for the company as well as in terms of their numbers? So let's go cross and listen it.
We are expecting that probably now that is in advanced stage and they will take a final call on this. Along with us also, I came to know Wipro had also submitted their request. If we get, so in addition to PFC, REC will be another 2 agencies. So we can go to market and we can raise from the market, assuming if it is 5.25 or even 5.5. Today we are raising from the market at 7.5, 7.4, something like that. Because 1 week back we raised around 1,500 crore for 10 years and it was 7.42. So against that, if it is 5.2, so almost 150 to 200 bips difference will be there. And if we pass on that to the sector, remember one thing, the new and emerging sector, the challenges are more. So when challenges are more, we load that risk factor to the interest. So many projects which are not becoming bankable today because of that loading, if we have a cheaper source of borrowing, then that much can be passed on to the sector, and the projects which are not becoming bankable today, those will become bankable. And that will further speed up this 500 gigawatt target in the country.
That's the management of IREDA, but let's talk about persistent systems and what a rally underway for the entire IT pack, isn't it, Aditya? We're just talking about quarterly numbers and looks like that's one of the triggers for these IT counters. But on the charts, how is persistent looking to you? Because this one is actually outperforming the large cap players also, isn't it?
Absolutely, Cheryl, and this is something which I've been talking for some time now. The IT stocks, whenever you get a dip, you should look at accumulating the IT stocks. Predominantly, this was the reason, because sooner or later you would see that kind of an up move. And what a remarkable recovery for persistent systems. From the lows of around 3,200, stock is now sitting at a fresh all-time high and above 4,500. I think so. Stock is good to go to levels of 5,000, 5,200 as well. Don't miss out on these IT names when they were giving you opportunities to go long. You should have actually, I think these are still good levels to go long on persistent system. On the upside, like I mentioned, 5,000, 5,200 are my targets. On the downside, if you get a dip closer to about 4,400 or maybe 4,300, add on to your positions because this stock, I think, will head higher from current levels. And all the indicators are also supporting the bullish view. So there's no reason not to go long on the stock.
Reason for not to go long on persistent systems is the word coming in from Aditya. But let's talk about Wipro then, and that one also is seeing a good move. Is in fact the top gainer on the Nifty in today's trading session, and CLSA has come out with a note, and particularly for CLSA's note, if you look at the rating, they've double upgraded Wipro. They've upgraded it to an outperform rating from an erstwhile underperform rating, and they've also gone ahead and hiked the target price to about 607 rupees per share from 431 rupees per share. So on back of this double upgrade coming in from CLSA, you can see Wipro logging in really strong gains of about 3%. Not just Wipro, you have Tech Mahindra, you have Infosys, you have TCS, all of them seeing good gains in trade today, Vinny.
Absolutely, seeing good gains in trade over there for all the IT pack as well as Wipro, and that was a preview note that came out as well. So on the back of that, you know, the double upgrade came in the preview notes. So it's going to be interesting to keep an eye out on this quarter's numbers, especially for the whole IT pack, and you know, whether this is finally a turnaround that we'll start seeing for the numbers coming in for these companies. But let's move on, talk about JSW Energy, and Ansh, why is that stock in focus today?
Right, so stock is trading over 1% today. Actually, JSW New Energy, a wholly owned subsidiary of the company, has received a letter of award for wind solar hybrid power project of 300 megawatt against tariff-based competitive bid invited by SJVN Limited for setting up 1,500 megawatt ISTS connected wind solar hybrid power project. Subsequent to this capacity award, the company's total logged-in capacity has increased to 13.9 gigawatt. With this hybrid project, the company further strengthens its energy solution offerings while moving towards an energy product and service company. Also, if you see on chart, then the stock seems to have touched a record high level today. Also, if you see on a broader time frame, then the stock has gained over 20% in last 1 month itself.
Okay, that is JSW Energy for y'all. Let's move on to the next stock. And Aditya picked out a name coming in from the FMCG pack, that's Dabur. What are you looking at in terms of the charts and technicals for Dabur? Because FMCG, not much of a performance, just post those elections we had seen that run up come in. But what is the view now on Dabur?
I think most of the FMCG pack will make a comeback, winning after consolidation. As you mentioned, they went up post election results, and after that they've entered into a consolidation phase. These stocks look like they're getting up for the next leg of rally, and Dabur could be one of the leaders within the FMCG pack to start the rally. It's getting up for a breakout from a consolidation phase. I think on the upside, stock can easily test levels of about 650 and 660. Those are the levels I'm looking at. On the downside, immediate supports are at 590, 585, and look at the classic case of consolidation, wherein after a good up move on volumes have dried up in the consolidation phase, and if the volumes pick up on breakout, Vinny, I think so stock will see new highs in the near term. And risk to reward is also in favor of going long, as I mentioned, plus the RSI also is looking bullish at the current momentum play. So overall, it's a very good looking stock for me.
Alright, on that note, we'll slip into a break on this edition of Market Fatafat. When we come back, more stocks to discuss, so don't go anywhere.